Hey everyone, it's vmcampos Comic Book Fan, and welcome to the weekly vmcampos Comic Book Club. This is the series where I answer the question, what am I reading this week? For the audio version of the podcast, head on over to your favorite podcasting apps, search for vmcampos, and subscribe. The podcast version is great for when you're on the go. Also, think about joining the Patreon, patreon.com/vmcampos. If you follow, you will be alerted to everything that I do totally for free. If instead you go to the $1 range, you'll get exclusive access to other content such as my top picks of the week. And if you move to the $2 range, I'll actually mail you a comic book straight from my collection in thanks. This is the series where I review a comic book, new or old, from my collection on the following 5 factors: the cover art, the interior art, the plot, and the overall enjoyability of the book on a scale of 1 to 5. Now, spoiler alert, I will be going through the various pages of this comic, but I will not be revealing everything. You are encouraged to buy the original book. Head on over to your favorite comic shops and buy the book yourself. Help out your favorite creators and companies and local shops. Buy the comics that I talk about in this series. It's worth it. This week I'm reading The Amazing Mary Jane #1 from Marvel Comics. Let's get started. So long-time listeners to the podcast know that Spider-Man is my favorite superhero of all time, and therefore Mary Jane is my favorite secondary character of all time. Well, the secondary character now is the main character of her own series, The Amazing Mary Jane. Let's talk about the cover. I got one of the variant covers. This is variant cover number 2. This is by Artgerm. He did a bunch of covers that show Mary Jane in a variety of styles throughout the decades of Hollywood. And so here we have, I suppose, like a 1940s film noir or a 1950s film noir starlet. So a very cool cover there, and I'm enjoying that a lot. So Artgerm, this is a 5 out of 5. His art is always amazing. I really like how he's expanding a little bit here, like in the color palette. It's all, red tones, golden hues, and such. I think it fits very well. You've got the clapperboard to show that she's on a film set. You've got this really cool spider jewelry on her shoulder. It's a great cover. And then her smoky eyes as she gazes at you with a smoking gun. So great cover. I like it a lot. It's a 5 out of 5. All of the Artgerm covers as well as the regular cover look really nice. All right, interior art. Okay, the interior art is not by Artgerm, but it's still pretty amazing. We have kind of like an interesting movie poster as the credits page of the comic, which is actually several pages into the book. And the interior art is by Carlos Gomez, main artist, and Carlos Lopez, color artist. So the art is amazing. It's so luminous. It's really expertly done by Gomez. It's this modern style, very colorful, lots of action. It's cute, it's cartoony, but there's enough realism to it. The very first page has a big shot of action with Mary Jane fighting Dr. Octopus and Kraven the Hunter. Great different shots of the action and the color backgrounds and so forth. And then it segues that, oh, this is just a movie set. And Mary Jane is the star of this particular movie. So the art is great, close-ups of faces, long shots of the back lots and such of the movie industry look great. There's some full-figure shots of Mary Jane in various pages that look really good. Again, I use the term luminous because I do see this sort of cell shading with accents throughout the book. It looks really nice. I like this art a lot. It's a 5 out of 5. I think Carlos and Carlos have done a great job of creating a complete world, great page layouts, expressions. There's a shot of Mysterio turning around to Mary Jane or to us in the camera. What's wrong with how I wrote her? And his expression really is about disbelief. So the art is really enjoyable, a 5 out of 5. The plot is by Leah Williams, and it's fun. It's a fun story of basically, again, I won't reveal everything. Mary Jane is on the set of a movie where she's the main star, and it turns out that the director is not who he seems. It's revealed pretty early on that it's Mysterio, and it's even like on the poster and such of the series. It's kind of odd to see Mysterio without his usual helmet. I blame that on the Marvel movies that are always having Spider-Man take off his mask to reveal Tom Holland. I don't care. Or Tony Stark taking off his mask to reveal Robert Downey Jr. I don't care. I grew up with, the actual comics and the look of them, and so when the movies show off the character's real face with the real actor, I don't care for that. So I kind of didn't like that Mysterio's face is visible at all times, basically, in the book. But the story is pretty fun. It focuses on Mary Jane, which is amazing. She deserves her own book, of course. She's a strong female character here fighting for what she believes in this story, which is terrible. She's basically telling the director, it's badly written, it's not too interesting, the female character only exists to further the plot of the male character, she has no agency. Some great feminist ideals espoused by Mary Jane. I dig it. She notes dryly, the script calls for me fighting in a squeaky latex catsuit. It ripped twice yesterday. So she convinces Mysterio to change the plot a little bit so that she can continue in the story. So I'll give it a 4 out of 5. The reason I ding it a little bit is it doesn't pass the Bechdel-Wallace test. This is the classic test to check if something is at least minimally feminist, and you would think that'd be easy to adhere to nowadays. The Bechdel-Wallace test has been around since 1985. Everyone knows about it. If you don't know about it, it basically means in any work of fiction, there are at least 2 female characters who are named and talk to each other, but not about another man. So, okay, Mary Jane, she's named, yes. That's one female character. There are various female characters throughout the backgrounds of the book. But the only other female character that actually speaks, Mallory, is named, but guess what? They speak about the director, the male director. So it doesn't hit the 3rd point. Now that's one ding on it, but overall, the plot is very enjoyable, but just something to think about. Think about the fiction that you consume. Does it at least have those 3 minimum aspects? 2 women that are named that talk to each other, but not about a man. You'll be surprised how often a work of fiction doesn't adhere to that. And that's what I saw here on The Amazing Mary Jane. That doesn't detract from the overall enjoyability of the book, however. The cover is amazing, the interior art is amazing, the story is fun, I can't wait to see where it goes. There's a great final page, a splash page of some characters that I will not reveal, that they catch wind of this movie production and want to join in on the fun. So it's a fun book overall. This is also a 5 out of 5. I noticed that they mentioned the 101. If you're over in California, that's the big freeway near LA. Marvel Comics almost always take place in New York City, except, Great Lakes Avengers and such. But it was kind of fun to see that Mary Jane's off on the West Coast in her, Hollywood career. Back in my day, in the 80s, that's how I knew Mary Jane as a rising actress and such. And it's kind of cool to see her still in that role with her own agency, her own wants and needs, and standing up for herself about what she believes will make this movie better for everyone. And that includes us, the reader. If you enjoyed the video version of the podcast, don't forget to head on over to patreon.com/vmcampos to also get the audio version. Sometimes that one's a lot easier to consume than the video version. You can subscribe on all your favorite podcast apps, Pandora, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, etc. Just search for VM Campos and hit subscribe. If you do head on over to the Patreon, patreon.com/vmcampos, and give a free follow, you'll be alerted to all of the things that I do, all my podcasts, all my YouTube videos, all my stuff for free. There are exclusive things, and you can get access to those by simply pledging at $1. You'll be part of the VMC crew, you'll help keep me funded, keep me going, and you'll get access to the exclusive stuff, such as the Top Comic Book Picks of the Week series that I'm doing. At the $2 range, I will actually mail you a comic book from my curated collection as thanks. In any event, don't forget to like, to follow, to subscribe, to thumbs up, to comment, all that stuff. I love that, and it really helps out, and I appreciate it. So this week I read The Amazing Mary Jane #1, published by Marvel Comics in 2019. This has been the weekly VM Campos Comic Book Club, and I'll see you next week.